Have you ever stopped for a moment, looked at someone in their 80s and wondered, what is life really like for them? Not just the polite smiles at family gatherings, or the quiet moments spent gazing out the window, but the real, unfiltered experience of life beyond 80. Most people think they know. They imagine soft blankets, warm tea, and endless memories. But the truth? It's far more complex. It's filled with silent struggles that few notice, and even fewer truly understand. Imagine this. You're sitting across from your mother, a woman who used to dance at every wedding, who once laughed so hard her eyes would tear up. But now, she's staring at her untouched meal. Her hands tremble slightly, and she says she's not hungry. Again. You brush it off as another one of her moods, but deep down something doesn't feel right. Or think about your grandfather, the man who built a life with his bare hands, who could fix anything, who always had a story to tell. But lately, his stories are starting to repeat. His sharp wit seems to have dulled, and sometimes he forgets your name. You smile, you nod, you tell yourself it's just old age. But is it? You see, life after 80 is a world of quiet battles, ones that many seniors fight every single day without saying a word. A world where the body feels like a stranger, where the mind can sometimes become a maze, where friends are fewer, the days seem shorter, and the nights feel longer. But here's the thing. These struggles aren't just stories, they're realities. And if you or someone you love is approaching this stage, then knowing these realities can be the difference between feeling lost and being prepared. So today we're not just scratching the surface. We're diving deep into 5 harsh realities of life after 80 that every senior and every family member needs to understand. By the end of this video, you won't just know what these challenges are. You'll know how to recognize them, how to respond, and how to bring comfort and dignity to those you love. But before we begin, I want you to do something simple. Comment wisdom down below if you're here to gain insights about aging gracefully. And if you're someone who values practical advice and heartfelt support for elderly care, make sure you subscribe to Wisdom of Longevity. Because here, we don't just talk about growing older, we talk about doing it with dignity, strength, and love. Let's begin. Reality. 1. Diminished physical mobility. Imagine this. Your grandfather, the man who once raced you up the stairs and never missed a morning walk, now hesitates at the front door. His favorite park, once a place of laughter and fresh air, now feels like a distant dream. You tell yourself he's just tired. Maybe it's the weather, maybe he's not in the mood. But deep down, there's something more. This is the quiet invasion of diminished mobility. It's not just about stiff knees or an aching back. It's a slow erosion of confidence. What used to be second nature, walking, bending, reaching, now feels like a challenge. And behind every cautious step is a fear. The fear of falling, the fear of embarrassment, the fear of becoming a burden. But why does this happen? As we age, muscles weaken, joints lose their flexibility, and balance becomes fragile. Our bodies, which once felt like allies, begin to feel unreliable. This isn't just an inconvenience. It's a silent thief of freedom. And here's the mistake many families make. In their desire to keep their loved ones active, they push. Come on, take a walk, they say. You just need to keep moving. But without understanding the real struggle, this pressure can lead to frustration, even accidents. So what's the right approach? It's not about forcing activity, it's about adapting to ability. Gentle exercises like chair yoga or slow assisted walks can rebuild strength without fear. Make the home safer, remove tripping hazards, install grab bars, and most importantly, encourage but never pressure. Let them know that moving carefully is better than not moving at all. But physical limitations are just the beginning. Next, we'll explore the often overlooked impact of social isolation. Reality 2, social isolation and loneliness. Now, picture Mrs. Green, the elderly woman who lives down the street. You always saw her chatting with friends in the garden, waving at the kids playing outside. But lately, her windows are closed, the curtains drawn. Days go by and she never seems to leave the house. You might think she's just enjoying her peace and quiet. But here's a truth many don't see. This could be loneliness, not solitude. For many seniors, social circles shrink with age. Friends pass away, family visits become rare, and before they know it, their world becomes four walls and a television. Loneliness isn't just a feeling, it's a silent killer. Studies show that chronic loneliness can be as harmful as smoking 15 cigarettes a day. It affects the heart, weakens the immune system, and even accelerates cognitive decline. And here's where families make a painful mistake. They think a quick phone call is enough. But a voice on the phone can't replace a hug, a shared laugh, or the warmth of someone sitting beside you. So how can you help? Encourage your loved ones to stay connected. Suggest local senior centers where they can meet people their age. Help them join hobby groups or clubs. Even regular video calls with family can bring joy. Because while loneliness is a mental struggle, next, we'll discuss something even more personal, the surprising impact of cognitive decline. Reality 3, cognitive decline. Think of this. Your grandmother, who once remembered every family birthday, now asks your name twice in the same conversation. At first, you laugh it off. It's just old age, right? But over time, the signs become clearer. She forgets where she placed things, struggles with familiar tasks, repeats the same stories. Is it just aging, or is it something more? Cognitive decline is a silent journey from clarity to confusion. And for many, it starts subtly. A misplaced key here, a forgotten face there. But slowly, these moments become a part of everyday life. But why does this happen? Age affects the brain just like the body. Neurons communicate more slowly, and in some cases, they begin to die off. For some, it's normal aging, but for others, it may be the onset of dementia or Alzheimer's. And here lies the greatest danger, not recognizing the difference. Families often dismiss early signs. She's just getting old. We all forget things sometimes, but ignoring these signs means delaying critical interventions. So what can you do? Start with gentle memory exercises, simple puzzles, word games, or asking them to share stories from their past. Create a structured daily routine to provide a sense of stability. And if the signs worsen, don't hesitate to seek a medical evaluation. Early diagnosis can open doors to better care. But while cognitive decline affects the mind, our next reality hits even closer to the heart: emotional vulnerability. Reality 4, emotional vulnerability. Imagine your father, a man who once rarely showed emotion, now tears up over a simple commercial on TV, or your mother, who suddenly becomes upset when she can't find her favorite sweater. These emotional swings may seem confusing, but they're not just moods. They're a cry for understanding. As we age, emotional vulnerability becomes a constant companion. The reasons vary: hormonal changes, loss of independence, the passing of old friends, and the feeling of being a burden. Even the strongest hearts can become fragile. But families often get it wrong. They label seniors as overly emotional, or worse, tell them to toughen up. But emotions in old age aren't a weakness. They're a reflection of a life full of memories, fears, and longings. So what should you do? Start by listening without judgment. When they share a fear, acknowledge it. When they cry, comfort them. Never dismiss their feelings. Sometimes a warm hug or a simple "I'm here for you" is all they need. But if emotions can be soothed, the next reality can be much harder to solve: financial insecurity. Reality 5, financial insecurity. After decades of hard work, you'd think old age would bring peace. But for many, it brings anxiety. Picture this: Mr. Thompson, who spent a lifetime saving, now struggles to pay his medical bills. His pension barely covers his rent. His savings, once his pride, are now dwindling faster than he imagined. Financial insecurity is a hidden crisis for many seniors. Rising healthcare costs, unexpected expenses, and the reality that savings can only stretch so far. Even those who were once comfortable may find themselves counting pennies. And here's where the biggest mistake happens. Families assume that a pension is enough, but with the cost of medication, assisted living, and even basic necessities rising, many seniors face tough choices between food and medicine, between comfort and survival. So how can you help? Start with an honest conversation, review their finances together, Look for government aid programs or community support services. If possible, family members can contribute a small monthly amount. It may be the difference between worry and peace. But money, mobility, and even memory are just part of the story. Because beyond these struggles is an even deeper question. How do we bring comfort, dignity, and meaning to our loved ones in their final years? We'll answer that next. Facing these realities isn't easy. It can feel overwhelming for both seniors and their families. Watching someone you love grow older, slower, and more vulnerable can be a quiet heartbreak. You see the person who once held your hand, guided you, protected you, now needing protection themselves. A reversal that no one ever truly prepares for, but it doesn't have to be a story of sadness. Instead of seeing these changes with fear or denial, see them as a call to action, a chance to offer something more precious than youth: compassion. When mobility fades, don't just see weakness. See an opportunity to walk alongside them, to explore life at their pace. When loneliness creeps in, let it be a reminder to share time, stories, and laughter. Make them feel seen, heard, and valued, even when the world seems to shrink around them. If memory slips away, become their memory. Remind them of their stories, their wisdom, their impact. And if emotions run high, if tears fall over forgotten keys or a lost keepsake, be their calm. Because sometimes a gentle hand on their shoulder, a whispered, "It's okay, I'm here," means more than any grand gesture. Preparation is not about avoiding these realities. It's about embracing them with love. Learn to recognize their struggles without judgment. Speak to them with patience. Listen without interrupting. Be the voice of comfort when their own voice trembles. But knowledge alone isn't enough. It's action that matters. So today, as you finish this video, take a moment. Think of the elderly in your life, your parents, your grandparents, your neighbor who always waves but rarely has visitors. Call them, visit them, sit down and ask them how they're feeling. Let them tell you their stories, stories they've held for a lifetime. And remember, while aging is inevitable, loneliness, fear, and suffering don't have to be. Your presence, your patience, and your love can turn these years into a chapter of peace, dignity, and meaning. Because in the end, it's not just about adding years to life, it's about adding life to those years. So let's take a moment to reflect. Today, we've uncovered 5 harsh realities of life after age 80. Realities that most people never talk about until they're forced to face them. We began with the loss of physical mobility, where simple steps become daunting challenges. Then we uncovered the silent struggle of social isolation and loneliness, where a shrinking world can turn into a prison of silence. We explored the painful journey of cognitive decline, where familiar faces and treasured memories begin to blur. We felt the weight of emotional vulnerability, where the strongest souls can become fragile. And finally, we confronted financial insecurity, where a lifetime of hard work can still lead to anxious nights and difficult choices. But these are not just struggles, they are opportunities. Opportunities to show love, to offer comfort, to create memories that matter. Because while aging is inevitable, suffering in isolation doesn't have to be. Now, I want to hear from you. Have you noticed any of these changes in your loved ones? Have you seen a parent's confident stride turn cautious? Or watched a grandparent repeat a story they once told with perfect clarity? Share your experiences in the comments below. Your stories might just help someone else who's going through the same thing. And if this video gave you a new perspective, if it helped you understand the hidden struggles of aging, please take a moment to give it a thumbs up. Not just because it supports this channel, but because it helps this message reach others who need to hear it. Make sure you subscribe to Wisdom of Longevity, where we don't just talk about aging. We talk about how to do it with dignity, understanding, and love. Hit that notification bell so you never miss a new video, filled with insights to help you and your loved ones navigate the later years with grace and wisdom. Remember, staying informed and empathetic makes all the difference. Stay strong, stay compassionate, and most importantly, stay connected to those you love. I'll see you in the next video.